hear me? Thank you. I hope all the participants are able to hear me. I hope all the participants are able to hear me loud and clear. Thank you. Thank you so much. In today's session, I would like to continue with a specific business scenario. So the scenario that I'm going to discuss today, how we can create an open ODS view, how to access database tables of SAP HANA to BW4 HANA, how to access data from SAP ECC or S4 HANA systems. So 3 exercises that I'm going to show you in today's session. One is the open ODS view. The second one, accessing tables from SAP HANA to BW4 HANA. And third exercise on how we can extract data from SAP ECC or from S4 HANA to BW4 HANA. So let me open Paint. So in this case, we have 2 sources. One is the SAP system. So here we have SAP. And the other source over here is the SAP HANA. So what I'm trying to do over here is, I'm trying to get this to SAP B4 HANA, EW4 HANA. So on the SAP systems, all the participants able to see my screen? I hope all the participants able to see my screen now. Is it okay? Thank you so much. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show participants how we can get this data sources from SAP system to BW4 HANA. And how we can get tables, column tables of SAP HANA to BW4 HANA. So I would like to show this accessing column tables and data sources from BW4 HANA. So first of all, what is a data source? A data source is nothing but it is an extractor. It is called as extractor. What are extractors? Extractors are to extract data from SAP system to target system. In this case, if you see, my target system is BW4 HANA system. So what I'm going to do is, in SAP, you find data sources that we can create and data sources that are delivered by SAP standard. So SAP delivers a few standard data sources. If those data sources do not match our requirement, so what we try to do, we create custom data sources. Now the point here is, now where are the standard data sources available? These standard data sources are available in a T code RSA5. So let me show you the T code RSA5 where you can find application specific data sources. Please see participants. So let me go to SAP log on. Now let us go to ECC system. The username is best and the password is W capital welcome 123 and click enter. Enter the T code RSA5. Enter the T code RSA5 and click enter. So once you click enter, now please see participants. So here we can see the data sources specific to different applications. Please see here. If we expand SAP R by 3, now here we can see data sources with regards to sales and distribution, controlling, plant maintenance, production planning, material management, investment management. Now these data sources are delivered by SAP. These are called as standard data sources. Now there are more than 3,000 data sources that SAP delivered as a part of the BA content. So this is known as BA content, the content that is delivered by SAP. Now, if these data sources do not match the requirement, what we have to do? We have to create our own data sources. So where do we create those data sources? We create those data sources in a T code called RS02. Please see participants. If no standard available, we can create our own data source. So I'll create my own data source. Let me click on new GUI window, enter the T code RS02 and click enter. So once we click enter, so let me take a specific name. I'll take a name called Jet. BBT 09. Just I'm taking a specific name and click create. So once I click create, let us give the application component. So what I'll do is just click on this. So what is an application component? Application components are nothing but to group data sources. So in order to group data sources, what we do? We associate these data sources to an application component. Now please see participants. So here you have different data sources specific to different applications. For example, let me show you. Click on this icon, expand SAP R by 3, expand ECC, enterprise controlling, and let us select, just I'm selecting this ECP, enterprise controlling profit center accounting. Just I'm selecting as a part of the data source. I'm associating data source to this application component. So let us double click on this. Now let us give the short description, medium description, long description, and then let us give the table name. So let us give the table name BBAK. Any table, you can take any table. Now these are standard tables. If you have any custom tables, we can also provide those custom tables. For now, I'm just taking standard tables and click save. So once I click save, now I'm just trying to click save. So once I click save, click local object and finally click save. Now once you save, here you can see a data source that is created by system. So here you can see the message data source saved successfully. So now we completed step number 1. So what is step number 1, participants? Step number 1, to create a data source on the SAP system. So we created this step. So this is step number 1. Now, step number 2. So in step number 2, what we have to do is, I would like to access this data source inside the HANA Studio. To access this data source in the HANA Studio, that is to access in BW4 HANA. So BW4 HANA, you can access from HANA Studio. Please see, participants, how can we access BW4 HANA inside the HANA Studio? So please check out this. So click Start, click All Programs, click SAP HANA, and click on HANA Studio. So once I click on HANA Studio, click OK. So once you click OK, now in order to access BW4 HANA from the HANA Studio, we have a separate plugin. We have a plugin. So through that plugin, we can access the BW4 HANA. So where can you find the plugin? Click on Perspective, select BW Modeling, and click OK. Now once you click OK, now please see, participants, now here you can see it's called as HANA Studio, BW Modeling HANA Studio. So here it opens up the BW Modeling Perspective. Okay, now once you get into this perspective, the first thing that we need to do here is add the BW4 HANA. So let me add the system BW4 HANA. Right click, click New, click on Project, expand Business Warehouse, select BW Project, and click Next. So once you click Next, please see, participants, here you find BW4 HANA. Click Next. Click Next. Provide the client. The client is 100. Username is best. The password for this is W Captain Welcome 123. And click Finish. So once we click Finish, now please see, participants, now the system is added. So this is how we access BW4 HANA inside the HANA Studio. Now, let us expand the BW4 HANA. Now, once you expand the BW4 HANA system, so here you find two important folders. The first folder is BW repository, and the second folder is data sources. Now, what is my requirement now? My requirement is we need to get this data source. we need to get this data source to BW4 HANA. How can I get this data source to BW4 HANA? So this is step number 2. So step number 2 is to get this data source to BW4 HANA. We have something called ODP release. It's called as Operational Data Provisioning Release. Only once we are able to release data sources, we have to release data source for that particular data source to be available in BW4 HANA. So how can I release now? In order to release the data source, we have a standard program. So SAP provides a program for these data sources to be available in BW4 HANA. What we need to do? We need to release those data sources. So let me click on new GUI window. Let us enter the T code SE38 and click enter. So once you click enter, let us select the program RODPS underscore OS underscore expose. Now what does this program does, participants? What is the use of this program? This program will help for data sources available in BW4 HANA. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click execute. Give the data source name. Provide the name of the data source. So the data source name is JetBBP09 and click release data source. So click release, click continue, click yes, click on request number, click continue, give the name. I'm giving the request number, JetBBP, click save, click continue. So finally, a data source has been released. Once this data source is released, now we can find these data sources to be replicated to BW4 HANA. Okay, let us go back to BW4 HANA again. Expand data sources and expand SAP extractors, expand EHP7 T90 CLNT090, expand SAP system, expand SAP application components. So here we have enterprise controlling, expand, right click on profit center accounting. Please see participants, this is step number 2. Step number 2 is to replicate. What happens when you replicate? When we replicate data sources, the structure of the data source gets replicated from SAP ECC to BW4 HANA. The complete structure gets replicated to BW4 HANA. So let me click replicate. So now please see, it is trying to collect data sources from application component ECPCA. Participants, do you find our data source over here? Please see here. Now let us click on create. Now this is the only data source that we just created. That is the reason we need to get this data source to BW4 HANA. So click next. Now activate the data source. So once you click on this, So data source will get activated. It will get generated in BW4 HANA. So I just would like to activate this new data source. And I'm just trying to uncheck activate updated data source. I don't want to use any of these data sources. I just want to create this data source and activate the data source and click finish. So once I click finish, now please see it starts replication in background. It is basically getting the data source. So now what it is trying to do, it's trying to get the data source from SAP system to BW4 HANA. But participants, what is the connection between both the systems? So how this SAP system communicates with BW4 HANA, how it is communicating? It uses RFC, remote function call. It uses remote function call to communicate with BW4 HANA. Now let us go back now and check. Let us go back. Now let us quickly check whether this data source is available or not. Let us expand the application component. Once you expand the application component, PC participants, JetBBP09 is available. Now what we are going to do is, in the next step, we are going to activate the data source. So let us double click on data source and click on activate. Just I'm trying to activate the data source. So until now what we have done is we created data source in a T code RSO2. We release the data source in a T code SE38, and finally we replicated the data source to BW4 HANA and activated the data source. Now I'll right click on the application component and click refresh. So once I click refresh, okay, now 1 minute participant, just trying to refresh. Just trying to refresh the data sources. Okay, fine. Now, what I'm going to do is in the next step, now I'll right click on this data source and click on explore data flow. Click on explore data flow. Once we click on explore data flow, PC participants, so here you can see. Now here you can see. So this is the source, and here you have the data source. So this is the source system, and here you have the data source. Now what I'm going to do is I'll just select this open ODS view. I'll select this open ODS view and drag and drop onto work area. So from here, just we need to drag and drop. Now once we drag and drop, let us give a name for this. Let us give the name JetBBP09. Now this is just the template. So I'm just trying to select the template and drag and drop onto work area. Now we need to create this. What is Open ODS view? Open ODS views are nothing but to access data on demand. Directly when you execute this Open ODS view, what it does is So directly what OpenODS view does is, it basically, one minute, let me explain what OpenODS view does. Now here we have this data source. Now here on top you have OpenODS view. OpenODS view access data from data source, and data source access data from SAP system. Data source access data from SAP system and OpenODS view. So it means that whenever you execute this OpenODS view goes to data source, and data sources via the RFC connection, they go to the source. So via the RFC connection, they go to the source and they fetch data on demand. Now what I'm going to do here is, I'll go back. PC participants, I'll just try to create this. Double click on this. Let us associate with an info area. What is info area? Info area is nothing but to group info providers. Info area is nothing but to group info provider. Info providers are nothing but to provide information. To whom they provide information? To business users. Now what we need to do is, we need to associate these info providers to info area so that it is easier for the business user to access that particular application. Now there are info areas with regards to sales and distribution, finance, human capital management. Once we associate these info providers to the application, business can specifically go to that application and access data. Okay, now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to click browse. Now I'm going to associate to, just try to associate to a specific info area called specifically associate to info area. Just I'm trying to search for info area. 100%, just 1 minute. Sales analysis. So just select the sales analysis and click OK. Zero sales. I'm associating this with zero sales. I'll give the description. Let me provide the description. Select facts. Now, what is a fact? A fact is nothing but related to transaction data. Anything that is related to amount and quantity related data is nothing but fact. So I'm selecting the fact. I'm selecting the data source. Click next. Once we click next, now let us search for the data source. Let us select the data source. And finally, click finish. Once I click finish, now PC participants, now we generated this OpenODS view. Now all that we need to do is just click on activate. So click on activate. Once you click on activate a PC, OpenODS view is activated. So click on data preview and click on analytics list. So once I click on analytics list, now here it is showing you the preview. It's called as BW reporting preview. So here, just we need to select the required columns. Finally, here you can see the sales document and net value of the sales document. Now, what we can do is, let us go to ECC. Now we can just go to the ECC system and quickly, just I'll show you the, let us take one document number from here. Let us take this document number, 4969. Let us go to the T code, let us go to the table. Just I would like to show you, just to reconcile VBAK, click display. I just would like to show you how we can do the reconciliation. 4969 is the document number. Let us select this and click execute. Once you click execute, now please see participants. I just would like to show you net value of the sales document. Please see here. So NETWR, and here the net value of the sales document is same, and this is the currency. So this is on the ECC system, and here you have it on the BW4 HANA. So like this, we can see for all the sales documents and their net value of the sales document. Now, if you would like to access different columns, for example, it could be, so these are all the master data. So whatever the master data that you would like to access, you can access it from here directly. Okay, participants. Like this, my requirement is, now we know that, now here you have a non-SAP system. Let's say this non-SAP system is something like Hadoop. Now Hadoop is something which can deal with semi-structured and unstructured data. So what I can do is, I can access these tables from non-SAP, access these tables from non-SAP system. I hope all the participants are able to see my screen. I hope all the participants are able to see my screen, and hope my voice is loud and clear. Oh, thank you. Now what I can do is, I can take this table from non-SAP system, and then I can access these tables using SAP landscape transformation. Using SLT, what I can do is, using SLT, I can transfer these tables to SAP HANA. Now here you have SLT in between non-SAP and SAP HANA. Now what SLT can do, SLT can transfer data from non-SAP to HANA in real time. So now you have this table. So whatever the table that you have it in source, now you have it in SAP HANA. Now in SAP HANA, what we can do is, I can access these tables from SAP HANA to BW4 HANA. So these tables which are there inside the SAP HANA. So where do you find tables in SAP HANA? Under the catalog. So on top of this HANA system, you have something called BW4 HANA. Now, how can a BW4 HANA access these tables? How can it access tables from SAP HANA? So in BW4 HANA, we have a provision to create data sources. What we can do, create a data source. Now what is a data source? A data source is nothing but an extractor. It is an extractor to extract data from SAP HANA. So based on this table, I'll use this table and create a data source. Now where is this table coming from? Actually, it is coming from a non-SAP system. So I'll transfer the data from non-SAP to SAP HANA. From SAP HANA, using this table, I'm going to create a data source, and based on this data source, we are going to create and based on this table, what I can do is I can create an open ODS view. Now, suppose say if there are any changes that takes place on this table, now immediately SLT will transfer this data in real time to SAP HANA. Now from here what I can do, I can access these tables to open ODS view in real time. Now let us see this. So here I'll click on open perspective. Let us select HANA modeler, click OK. So here what I'm going to do is just try to add one system. This I'm trying to add system. So let us expand the catalog. So once you expand the catalog, let us go to a schema called best. And let us try to right click on table, click filter. Let us search for CE1 IDA. Get CE1 IDA. Click on whole word and click OK. Now let us expand the tables. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to access these tables to BW4 HANA. So I'll go back to BW4 HANA. So inside the HANA Studio itself, we have click on open perspective, BW modeling, click OK, expand BW4 HANA, expand data sources, right click on, excuse me. So let us expand the source system. So here we have the best. This is nothing but the source system. So let us expand the source system. Let us expand SAP application components. SAP application, this I'm trying to search for an application component, which is SAP application component. So here you see there are different application components. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one data source. So let me right click on this application component, click new, click on data source. Once I click on data source, now this is nothing but the source system. Click next. Click on proposal from SAP HANA table or review and click next. Now we need to search for the table. Get CE1 IDA and let us select the table, get C1 IDA. So this is the table and click next. And let us give the name for the data source. So I'll give it as jet BBP is 090. Let us provide the description. Provide the data source type. Data source type is transaction data. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a data source. So after I create a data source, this data source will access data from native HANA table. So I'll click finish. So once I click finish, now here it creates a data source of TC participants. So this is the fields that you have inside the data source. So you have company code name, customer code name, gross revenue and sales deductions. So these are the columns that you have inside the data source. Now what I'm going to do is I'll click activate. Now once I click activate, now this data source gets generated. So once we activate, so here we can see, right click on the application component and click refresh. Once you click refresh, so here we can see the data source got generated. Now right click on the data source and click on explore data flow. Now until this step, what we have done. So the table is in SAP HANA. So you have the table, you have this table in SAP HANA. So you are accessing this table and creating a data source. And this data source, by using this data source, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create an OpenODS view. On top of this data source, I'm going to create an OpenODS view. Let us go back. Right click on data source, click on explore data flow. So once you click on explore data flow, so here we have the source system, and this is the data source. So on top of this, I'm going to drag and drop this OpenODS view, drag and drop the OpenODS view, and give the name for the OpenODS view, JetBBP 090. Now, what is the purpose of an OpenODS view? OpenODS view, the name itself says it is a view. There is no data present in this view. It only accesses data in runtime. Whenever you fire a query, OpenODS views request data from data source, and data sources, by using a HANA local connection, it connects to SAP HANA and access data on the fly, and finally it provides to the query. So let us create an OpenODS view. So what is an OpenODS view? OpenODS view is just a view where it can access data on the fly. So let me double click on this. Let us double click. So let us associate to an info area, click browse, and let us associate an info area. Called, I'll associate to ERP Analytics and click OK. So let us give the description, provide the description. Semantics as facts. So why I'm taking as fact? Because it is transaction data. Now select the data source. So select data source BW, click next. So once you click next, let us search for this data source. JetBBP 090. ZBBP 090, and then select the 1 minute, participants. Select the data source and click next, and finally click finish. So once you click finish, now finally it is generating. OpenODS view is now generating based on the structure of the data source. So it is inheriting the structure from the data source. Now here finally you can see here, once you click on this facts, so here you can see the characteristics, company code name, customer code name, and here you have the measures VV01 and VV07. Now what we have to do, finally click activate. So once you click activate, OpenODS view is generated. So now finally what we have to do is, so here we can click on analytics list. So once you click on analytics list, I'm just trying to show you data preview. So it's going to generate the BW reporting data preview. Now what we have to do is, so just select customer code. Here you can see all the customers. Click on the company code. So here you can see the different company codes. Okay, participants? I hope all the participants okay. So let me once again, let me recap quickly how we can access tables from SAP HANA to BW for HANA. And finally, creating analytics based on this data. So what have we done? Once again, let me explain. So here you have SAP HANA system. So in SAP HANA, under the catalog, you have tables. So we were trying to access these tables to BW for HANA. By creating a data source on top of this, in BW for HANA, I'm creating a data source. So this data source is accessing data from these tables. Now, the data source that you see here, one minute, participants. The data source that you see here now this data source supplies data to OpenODS view. It supplies data to OpenODS view. And finally, I'm creating a query based on this and trying to see data in multi-dimensional fashion. So whenever you file query, this query goes to OpenODS view, access data from BW for HANA data source, and data source can access on the fly from HANA tables. Now, how data is being updated into HANA tables? Either it can directly write using a Fury apps. So inside the Fury apps, you can create business partners. You can create a purchasing document or a sale order document or a financial postings. Directly it updates these tables, and finally you can access an OpenODS view. Or the other way is from a non-SAP system, you can access data. You can access data from non-SAP to HANA tables, or using a Fury apps. Using Fury apps, when you're creating sale order or purchasing documents, directly updates those tables, and these tables can access to data source for analytical purpose. Okay, all the participants. I hope all the participants okay on this scenario. Want to see the assignment for today's session? Go to Dropbox, set to folder. Go to set to assignments. Here, open BW for HANA. Here you can find the assignment for implementing the project info area to replicate ECC data sources for BW for HANA for accessing HANA tables for BW for HANA for implementing open ODS views. Let me open the assignment. Here I have given all the steps which we discussed in the sessions. Click enter. Enter the transaction data. Click on create. Click on application component. Expand the SAV application component. Click on sales and distribution. Like this, I've explained the remaining all steps in these assignments. Thank you all the participants to attend today's session. I'll see you in the next session. Thank you.